In three, two, and one. All right, all right, all right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you at in the world, whatever time you decide to watch. This is Pastor P, live here tonight with some good talks. Uh, Definitely a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a little while. And yeah, we got a pretty decent conversation that we're going to talk about tonight. All right. So, as we do all the time, we're going to discuss the topic. I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then we'll add or allow you all to respond and let me know what you think. So, the topic tonight is, should I get married to be happy? Should I get married to be happy? Um, and I think this is a pretty intriguing topic because, you know, a lot of people certainly get married to be happy. Uh, and also, I mean, they think that happiness is inside of another person or, you know, whatever the case may be. But we're going to talk and I'm going to give my opinion tonight. Uh, and I want to let you know how I feel about it. So I don't believe that getting married to be happy is a good idea. Um, Simply because uh, issues could arise. I think one thing that we have to learn or definitely realize is that um, we need to be content with ourselves, be happy with who we are. Um, Hey there, Mariah, you all
That's a
right?
B.
Thank you for joining. Okay, looks like I'm with the sound effects again today. Looks like having a little trouble hearing again. Let me see. Oh wait, maybe you could try make sure like it's working because I don't hear you at all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hear you now. Did you do something different? Oh, well, maybe that's my stuff. All right. Well, anyway, so topic tonight is should a person get married for happiness? And I basically my thoughts is I think that a person should be content with themselves and happy within themselves. I think what the thing is I think people get excited about the idea of being happy with someone or the person that they love or the person that they want to be with, and because of the thoughts of that relationship, they feel like if I do get married, I'll be happy. But I don't think necessarily a person should have in their mind that, hey, I want to get married to be happy. I think that a person should be solidified within themselves as far as happiness. Because a lot of times, man, you have people that are unhappy going into a marriage, trying to be happy.
Mhm.
And what they do is they can do a lot of drawing out of the person that, that they expect to make them happy. So if I get married as an unhappy person and the person that I'm marrying, in my mind, I'm like, okay, this person is going to make me happy. Um, so I get in that relationship and they're trying to do as much as they can, and I'm not bringing anything to the table, and it kind of pull a lot out of that person. So what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I feel like, I mean, of course, I agree with you as far as we ought to be happy within ourselves before we go into any kind of relationship. And the thing about happiness is it's not anybody else's job to make us happy.
Right.
Our
Right.
happiness generates from within our own selves. And I think that sometimes we as women, we can look for someone to fulfill that need of happiness that we have. And I
Right.
think we do it subconsciously, because we fail to realize that, like I said, our happiness comes from us. And it's not the job of anybody else to make us happy. And what we as women can do, we can get wrapped up on seeing these things on TikTok, Facebook, all in the movies, these rom-coms, these fairy tale beautiful stories where the guys doing all these things for the girl, or they just seem to be so happy or whatever. And I think we can have that false perception of that relationships or marriage can make you happy, but when in reality you ought to be the one bringing your own happiness. And I think marriage should be like a bonus. Like, it shouldn't make you happy, but it should bring you happiness. Does that make sense?
So you're saying that it should bring you to a happy place, or
No, I meant to say it should add to it. It should add to the happiness that you already have.
okay. I can see that. I can see that. So do you think that if a person comes to a relationship and they are not happy, or they have, I guess, issues, or they come in the relationship wanting a person to make them happy, do you think that would pull a lot of energy and a lot from that other person?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. It becomes draining, and you become like a leech when you rely on somebody or something. It's really, a mental thing. So like happiness. So if I'm relying on this person to make me happy all the time, that's putting way too much pressure on, my partner. And I don't see that relationship lasting very long, because that happiness within that other person is going to run out. And I think you should bounce off of each other. So I
Right.
don't think that can definitely be
I think, and I don't think that is wise to, that people teach, others. I'm trying to add Miss AV here. Um, let's see, it's in a connection fail. Let me just call on the other phone. Let's see here. Video. All right. Miss AV, you there?
I'm here.
All right. All right. All right. Good. All right. So tonight we having a pretty intriguing topic, and I think that this is a good conversation that you can be a part of. So the question is, should a person, I guess, and then I want to know, like, why do most people want that? But should a person get married to be happy?
Well, should a person get married to be happy?
Yeah.
I don't think that a person should focus on being happy, because when I think about happy, in my mind, happy means that you're depending upon something happening in order to make you a thing. So if it's making you happy, something has to happen in order for you to do that. Right. So I would say, no, absolutely not. You shouldn't. Before you get married, you should already be happy.
You're right.
You should be happy with yourself, happy with your life, happy with whatever family you do have. It shouldn't be that once I get married, I'm going to be happy. Because you might get married and not be happy.
Right.
So how you going to afford that?
Yeah. So why do you think it is that and we've kind of bounced back and forth, but why do you all think that people decide, or in their mind they think that being married will bring them happiness? Do you think it's because they've been single for a long time, or they see other relationships that people have, say, man, I wish I could have that, and that'll bring joy to my life? Or do you what do y'all think about that? Like the whys, like why do people, like, in their mind be like, yeah, if I could just get me a wife, if I could just get me a husband, I'd be happy. But I think sometimes people just, they're stuck on the idea of certain things and not actually thinking it through. So what do you think?
I agree. I think people have a myriad of reasons. I don't think it's one in particular. I think all of those that you mentioned play a role in how people feel. And, you know, one of the most important that I think it is how you feel about yourself and how you were raised and how you grew up. And if you had some things in your life that you didn't get from, you know, your parents or growing up, everybody around you looked like, you know, they were so happy. And I think Mariah mentioned earlier that these fairy tales on TV. So you got so many things feeding you this information. I really believe there's a worldview out there that says that you aren't going to be happy unless you're married.
Yeah. Yeah. Or unless you're in a relationship with somebody. What,
Yeah.
Mariah, what you think? What's your thought?
Well, I think that we can have a false perception of happiness, and like you said, like I could, if I just had a husband to do this, or if I had a man to do this, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I think we can look at those problems that we have that come up in our life when, like, we think that a husband or a wife is supposed to do these things. But I think that, I mean, in your time of singleness, you have to find ways to be happy without that person or whoever you think that is supposed to be that. And I think that's why people can get into that, you know, if I only had a husband, if I only had a wife, blah, blah, blah. But you have to figure out, you know, how to do those things on your own and be happy with yourself doing that thing. Like, that's why, like, self-date nights are so important to me, because instead of me moping around waiting on a man to take me out on a date, I can do that for myself, and I'm happy doing that myself.
Right. So all right, so we look at the word happy and we hear everybody say happy. What does that mean? What does being happy mean? What does that mean? What does that look like? Miss AV, I'll go with you first. What does that look like?
I think when it comes to happy, I think I mentioned it earlier. How I see happy is something has to happen to make you happy. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, I think there's a difference between happiness and joy. So if I'm happy, it's only for a moment. Right. It's not going to be forever. It's not going to last all the time.
That's right.
But if I have joy, then I enjoy everything in my life, and I learn how to be content even when things aren't perfect in my life.
Right, right.
Because if you get married thinking that once you get married, everything is going to be great, I'm so sorry and so sad to tell you, I am married. And when I got married, I was happy to get married. Let me tell you something. As soon as we got married, life happened. Yep. Yeah. So when life happened, and that happiness, that smile on your face turn to a frown, you're going to be able to say. Something to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, Mariah, what is happy to you? What does that mean to you?
Happiness to me is almost similar to being content and to being like at a state of peace with, you know, whatever is coming on. And happiness to me is also having the ability to change my thoughts into a positive thinking. And so what I mean by that is like, for me, I can choose to be happy. So something might come along in my life that could really upset me, but I can change my mind to make myself to be happy. And I think it's the ability to be positive and to be cheerful. And like I said, to be content about, you know, who I am and where I am in life. And that's just for me though.
So is happiness a choice?
Yeah, for me it is.
Yeah, I can say I don't know that it's a choice, but yeah, actually it is. Yeah. When you think about it. Yeah. I have to think that through. I think it is a choice, because if I make myself feel better by changing how I think, mm-hmm. then yeah, it's a choice. Absolutely. That you make every day, whether you're going to continue to be happy, sad, whatever other feeling or emotion that you can have throughout the course of a day. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. It's certainly a choice. It's a well thought decision to make within yourself about what you're going to be. And, you know, I'm going to be content with this. And I like what you said about, you know, happy and versus joy, because joy, you know, could be everlasting, while happiness could just
be for moments, you know,
Yes.
because you have to, sometimes you got to think yourself happy, or you got to put yourself in a zone to be like, okay, I'm happy, you know, or make yourself content with whatever cards you were dealt, you know what I mean? So I like the, you know, the compare and contrast with happiness versus a person having joy. You know, I think that our generation is, you know, what most people now, when it comes down to, you know, and I wouldn't even say marriage, because a lot of times, you know, it's just about being in a relationship. But I would say, you know, ultimately marriage. But, you know, I think people fall in love with that fairy tale idea that, you know, all of my problems gonna go away if I find Prince Charming. You know, all of my problems gonna go away if I find Queen Sheba. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just gonna be, you know, the perfect whatever. I think, and I agree with what Mariah said earlier. She said, you know, she believed that a marriage could influence or bring happiness, but I shouldn't get married to say that I'm going to get married so I can be happy, because then, you know, that means that you stale by yourself. You know, you don't mean anything when you're by yourself. So in order to become this happy person, you have to be inspired by a relationship, or be inside of a relationship to be happy, which certainly is dangerous. And I want to kind of talk about a little bit about how devastating and traumatic it could be for a person that has to be the one to always, you know, pour into a person to make them happy, because they thought that, you know, when I got married, I thought I was supposed to be happy. So they're looking for all of this stuff to be given to them so that they can be happy, and how traumatic and draining it can be for the other person if they're not bringing anything to the table. Yeah, y'all follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that, Mariah? We'll go with you first.
That's toxic. As we toxic. But I mean, for real though, because you get so tired of having to um care for, in a sense, for that other person mental state and their happiness, that you're gonna run out of happiness yourself, and it's gonna drive you nuts, because it's like the point of a relationship is to you know, support each other, basically. So if I'm always supporting you, if I'm always pouring into you, if I'm always there for you, but I'm not getting in return, you're more like a parasite. You're not you're not a spouse.
Yeah, very, very good. Miss AV, what you got?
Um, yeah, I like that, Mariah. That's amazing, because I agree that, you know, if I'm doing all that I can to make you happy, and it's taking so much from me to give to you, that's going to be a problem, because in a marriage, in a relationship, the needs of the other person is supposed to be met by the other person.
Right.
If I'm meeting all of your needs, not necessarily every need, but the most important ones in a relationship: love, kindness, care. You know, if I'm doing all that for you, and then you don't do the same for me, then I'm the empty vessel constantly pouring into you. You get everything and I get nothing. That's going to be a relationship that eventually I'm going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it forces, you know, one person to be, I guess, the handicapped person in a relationship, where, you know, you're taking so much from me to where I can't even give off of that side anymore. I don't have nothing left on that side anymore. So does it handicap an individual? Would you say that? Or what do you think about that?
When you say handicap, what do you mean?
So they're reluctant to utilize their whole self, because they've been pulled from out of, you know, this whatever source that they've given from themselves. So it places them in a, you know, a handicapped position where I'm not able to do as I was before, or I'm not able to, you know, constantly pour from this part of me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I think that absolutely can, and it does happen. Where one person is pouring more and more and more until the point where they're absolutely drained.
Right.
Yeah.
they become the one with the issue because they don't have anything to give. So now what's left in them is emptiness. And when you empty, you're sad, you're depressed,
Yeah.
and you literally will become handicapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
me. Because I do believe you onto something there.
Yeah. What you was about to say, Mariah?
Gonna start looking for somebody else. That's good.
Say it again.
So you're gonna start looking for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
you're so dry, and you're not even going to be looking. You're going to be sunken. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be down.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this, Mariah. If somebody comes along and starts pouring something into you that you're not getting,
Right.
wait to move over to that side. And
Absolutely.
the sad thing about it is, it's probably not a good one either.
Yeah.
They just giving you a little bit of what you're not getting.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you jump into that relationship, and out of that one, and end up in the same type of relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what happens is, and what you said is powerful, because if I'm handicapped because of you, then somebody's going to come and tend to my needs because I'm handicapped now. So I become what I left, and then that person become me. And so now they're going to be handicapped, and then somebody else going to have to come fix them up. Because remember, people that are handicapped, they always need assistance. They always need somebody doing something for them, need somebody pouring this, doing this for them. So now that I'm handicapped because of a relationship, and then I go to another relationship because I'm handicapped, then I'm going to make that person handicapped because I'm handicapped.
Whole cycle.
Go ahead, Mariah. Yes.
I was saying you just started a whole cycle, and I think that's why it goes back to the beginning, how we ought to be whole and full of happiness and self-sufficient in that area before we even commit to somebody else.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think when we aren't whole and we got things in our lives that we have not dealt with, and we start dating people and getting to know people, and then they bring that sex in the mix,
Yep.
and now you got two people with issues.
Yep.
It ain't just one no more.
Yep. Absolutely. So let me ask y'all this question. Do you think that it's important, I guess, especially going into a marriage or a relationship, that there's an understanding of love languages? Do you think that's important?
Oh, yes. I think it's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Chapman wrote that book,
Yeah.
The 5 Most Important, the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
And that's very important to get to know someone. That's why I said before we ever do anything, if I'm dating, I'm going to get to know you for the first 90 days. I want to spend as much time getting to know you
Right.
but I want to look and listen and observe. I don't necessarily want you to tell me what your love language is. I want to discover it. I want that to be something I discover about you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because that makes a relationship rich.
Yeah, and I think that's really good that you said that, because I think a lot of times we go in kind of asking so many questions to where sometimes people don't even know their love language for real. They just be I learned what it is, so acts of service. I guess that's my my love language, or touch, whatever. So I think sometimes I think the best way to do it is to try to find out by their response, the way y'all do things like that, and then have a conversation. And if you're wrong or anything like that, then it can be corrected or whatever, or if you don't understand. But I think that it's good that you take the initiative to get to learn or get to learn that through that person, make sure that they are showing those languages.
I agree.
Yeah. So, but so let me ask this. I got another question. I guess when it comes down to marriage and a relationship, do you think that it's important to look at the structure of the home that person grew up in? Do you think it's important to find out if that woman respects her father, and how does that man treat his mother?
I'll let you go first, my baby.
Okay. Yes, I think it's very important that you know how, as a woman, I want to know how he treats his mother and what their relationship looked like. And it's kind of hard to really decipher what that relationship looks like if you don't spend any time with that person long enough to get to know their family. And the reason I think it's important is because most of us women, when we get married, whether we like it or not, some way, somehow, we tend to seek out the man that was in our house, or you know, and end up marrying or in relationship with men who are just like our father, very similar to our fathers. And I think sometimes it's similar for men. But I mean, Pastor, you would have to speak to that. But as a woman, I've noticed that pattern that women, we tend to either connect with or quickly get into relationships with men that resemble our father, whether our fathers were good or not good.
Right. Yeah. I'd have to agree. Go ahead, Mariah. I think you want to say something. Then I'll say something.
Oh, I was gonna say I think it's so you know what you're up against as far as what's going to be in your child, and so because you don't know what is going to be in that home as far, because you know that's going to be their grandchild. So if we have a child together and my child goes over to their grandparents' house, I have to know what's going on. I have to know if there's any kind of generational curses, cycles, you know, anything that I need to know in order to protect my child, as far as, you know, like things that we may have to look out for in the future or whatever the case is. So I think it's definitely important that you know the background and the home, everything.
Why don't people do it?
I don't know.
Why do people do that? Can you clarify that, Pastor?
Why don't people really like do their research on people before they, you know, decide to get married and stuff like that?
Honestly, I think in the beginnings of a relationship, one of the things I think people do is they jump in too fast.
Yeah.
I think people, you know, they go out on a couple of dates, and after maybe the third date, they already having sex. They already kicking it together, and then after a month, they done moved in with each other, and don't even know the history of their family because they haven't even met the family yet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't even meet the families until they decide, oh, let's get married. Oh, I want to marry you. And then you want to show up talking about, all right, well, we going to meet at the wedding? No. People do it because they jump in too quick. They so quick to want to connect with someone and don't take the time to get to know that person.
Right. And I 100% agree with that. And a lot of times people, you know, people are in bad conditions or have been in bad relationships because they didn't take that time out to make sure that, you know, they checked in and talked with the parents and, you know, all of that stuff like that. Watch behaviors at Thanksgiving to see, you know what I'm saying, if they busting bottles on people's heads or they getting crazy drunk or, you know, all of that stuff. So you're not finding out, you know, on the wedding night, you know, wedding night come and then, you know, something crazy or drastic happened. You know, it's like, whoa. I remember when I was about to get married, my kid's mom, man, I was about to call the wedding off the night before. Girl was just, I mean, a side I ain't never seen. She was wilding out. She was acting crazy. And I told my cousin was over there. I said, yo, man, we gotta call this thing off. No, I ain't getting into this. I don't want to deal with this. This is getting crazy. It was getting crazy. She was getting violent. And I was like, hey, what's going on? You know, yeah. So, you know, I was about to call my sister over there to have a conversation because we all live in the same neighborhood. And then I guess we, you know, because there was so many people involved in the wedding, it was like, just go ahead and, you know, have the wedding. But yeah, if you don't do that strong research, man, it could definitely get a little crazy, you won't really get to know that person. And you want to kind of see them in every aspect of their life. You want to see how they are with their boys. You want to see how they are, you know, with their brothers and sisters. You want to see how they are with their cousins. You want to see how they are with their family and stuff like that, because you're gonna get a different person in each category of somebody's life. Because you'll see me. I played a lot of different roles in people's lives. Some people see me as a father. Some people see me as a pastor. Some people see me as an activist. But when I get around my cousins and stuff, and we start laughing and cutting up and all that, people are like, oh man, I didn't know he knew how to clown. I didn't know he joked. So you get a different person or a different side of a person depending upon the scenario. So I think it's wise to make sure you try to at least get involved, or even go to like a family reunion to see what's what. Well, what do y'all think about that?
Like what Miss AV said is like we be done move fast. All that stuff is too, so like our feelings, we get so caught up in the feelings, we be done fell in love with somebody, ready to be with this person, blah blah blah. And so you finally get around to the point where you meet the family, you say, oh man, this is what you got going on. But you already got feelings for the person, so you like probably willing to accept, what it is, because you want to be with that person.
Right. Yeah, that's 100% correct. And then so, I want to say this, and I ain't trying to throw no shots or nothing like that, but see, Mariah, you got two sides of your family. You got a black side and a white side,
yeah.
And you got, whoever get married to you or whatever, they need to kind of see how I go over there in the woods and with your white family, and then with your black family, how it is over there on that side. So, you got two, and that's that's something you got to get to learn. You got to know about that stuff, man. I think that it's wise, before somebody get married, to just kind of make sure you kind of do a little thorough check to see what's what, how they act over there at their family, do they, whatever. So I think that's important. And I ain't trying to throw no shots, but I think that's a good.
No, it's true.
Yeah, because you just don't know what how people are, until you kind of, and that goes back to our conversation we had previous about, you don't really get to know nobody in 6 months. You don't really get to know them in a year. You know what I mean? Learning somebody is a forever and a long, it's a long-term thing. It's not like, I know this person in 6 months. And I think that a lot of times, and I'm not saying that some relationships don't work out, but a lot of folks that get in them relationships, I met them for a couple months, so we're going to move in together. We're going to start doing all this stuff together. I just don't think. Let me say this. If y'all not married or anything like that, I don't think it's wise to buy a home together. Don't get a car together. Don't take out no loans. Don't take out no business. None of that stuff like that.
No. Those are poor decisions.
They are troublesome.
I learned
people
have you in a lot of mess.
Yeah.
Unless you get some lawyers, pay them half the money which you making just to get out of a mess that you created because y'all aren't married. Marital property, you got to work that stuff out, and nobody's gonna lose if it's done correctly.
Right.
But when you ain't married, honey, you ain't got no papers, you about to be in a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. They be ready. They be signing mortgages together, signing cars, opening up businesses together, and they just talking about, we're gonna get married one day. And they ain't got no, man. Y'all be in a strong he'll be in some serious trouble. So back to so what is the importance, I guess, in a marriage, and I know we discussing, should I get married to be happy, but what are some of the, I guess, how do we deal with pouring into someone as a married person? Like, how should that go? Should it be, equivalent, or do you do your part until that other person does theirs, or do they do their part until you do yours, or how should that work? Because obviously, inside a relationship, especially a marriage, you're gonna need to, take care of each other, right? So, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, in a marriage, it, it should be equal. But I think that depending on the season of your life and the season of your marriage, sometimes you're going to be doing a little more at one point, and sometimes he's going to be doing a little more at some point. And as long as you're both doing and giving, you got to be giving in a marriage. If you're not willing to give and compromise, you probably don't need to get married.
Right.
Because if you're selfish, you might need to be by yourself.
That's right. So in a marriage, should I? And let me ask you, will this be easy? And I want to know from both of you all, and all our viewers, should I focus on making her happy and she focus on making me happy? Would that make things easier, or what do y'all think?
Good, right.
Well, I mean, I'm not married, but I mean, I think that would make sense. If I'm focusing on you and you're focusing on me, I think that's a good balance.
Okay. All right. What you got, Ms. AV?
Yeah, I agree with Mariah. I have to, if I'm focusing on you and making sure everything that you need is there, then it's only right that you should focus on me. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm about to throw a monkey wrench in there for the women, because I'm a woman, and a lot of times women, we think everything is all about us. Yeah. And we gotta receive, and he gotta do this, and he gotta jump through this, and he gotta jump through that. And I think that he may have to do a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that you should be doing too.
Absolutely.
If he's out there doing all kinds of things to make sure that you have a nice home, a nice house, and you could be working too, so your money is coming in too, and it's looking good, then there should be no reason why that man come home and he ain't got a hot meal.
Yeah. 100%.
No reason in the world, particularly for women who are stay-at-home moms. If you a stay-at-home wife, baby, your house should be spotless. Well, not spotless, but it should be clean. And he should have a warm dinner, a cooked dinner, not McDonald's, not Burger King, none of that. Chick-fil-A either.
Yeah. It's like, I do think it's another aspect to it though too, like when you can be focused on somebody else so much to where like you kind of forget who you are, like even though they might be pouring, might be focusing on you too, but you as an individual, I think it could be easy to kind of forget like you in life, like who you are, who you've been created to be, or whatever purpose you have, or whatever dreams you have and stuff like that. And I think for me that would be kind of like I don't want to say scary, but like going into marriage, I think that's something that I would definitely like keep in the back of my mind. Like I don't want to lose who I am,
So all right, and I'm glad you said that. So is that a part of marriage to change your identity to, I guess, assist in the different role? So if I'm leaving from being a single female to a married woman, does that, do I go in there looking at it like, okay, I'm changing who I am, or my identity eventually is going to change?
Yes. I think to some degree, I don't want to lose who you are at core. If you are a healthy, and if you are healthy emotionally and fulfilled before you got married, when you get inside of the marriage, you won't lose who you are at core, but you will change your identity because you're no longer identified as, for instance, my maiden name was Reynolds. So I'm no longer a Reynolds. I am a Van Beverhout. So it's going to look different. I took on this man's name. Right. So if I took his name, then I become more for him. Right. And my identity changes from a single maid, maiden, to a married male. Yeah. and mother. So eventually mother. And it absolutely changes my identity to some degree, but it definitely does not change who I am at core.
Okay.
That's good. I think that's, for me, I can speak for myself. I think that's why it's so important for me, for the time and for my life, that I fulfill the things and accomplishments that I want to fulfill first. Because I know that a marriage could prolong that. It could, definitely, I don't want to say distract, but definitely push back my goals and dreams. And so I think for myself, I would definitely want to accomplish the things that I want to do first before I would make that type of commitment.
Yeah, and I think that that's wise because, I think that's wise because a lot of times when a person do get married, whether they like it or not, they're going to change, who they are and what they, supposed to do, and all of that stuff. Everything about that person changes, and it changes because they are now married. And when you are married, you know what I mean, you go from this single female to a married woman. And as a married woman, your role is so much different than it was before. And then you may have to start catering more to him as he would have to cater more to you, because as a single man, I'm comfortable with making, $5,000 a month or $6,000 a month. But then when I take on the responsibility of getting married and becoming a married man, now I'm taking care of somebody else. So now I'm not just a single male anymore, and I now I have a different responsibility. So now I can't be okay with just making what I was making before. I gotta, up it up now because it's another person that I have to take care of. You follow what I'm saying? So I think that when it comes down to, a person going into a marriage, oh, you're going to change 100%. You're going to. So it's good to make sure that whatever goals and aspirations that you have, that you take care of those prior to getting married, because you're going to be a different person. You have a different responsibility.
Absolutely. You better pursue whatever you want to pursue. You better go where you want to go, because once you get married, sometimes even if you try and there's a lot of people that say, well, I don't want to have a baby right away. I want to wait a year or two. But stuff happens in marriage, and even though that may be what you want, it may not be so.
Right.
And when that life change, it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks if you're not prepared to manage the things that come with a wife.
Yeah. If you don't have the preparation, and it's really about the mental state, to be honest. Like, your mindset, where is your mind when it comes down to being married? Because it's going to be it's one of the strongest transitions that a person could ever make. And I've seen a lot of transitions, and it's a few different transitions that I like to point out. Like, on a job, when you go from being a team member to managing the entire facility, that's a huge jump. And then going from managing an entire facility where you manage people under you, or people that are under you don't have the same mentality, all stuff like that. But then you go to another room where you're managing people that used to be you, so now you got this whole bit. So that's a huge transition. Just like marriage, going from being a single person to a married person, it's a very strong transition, because now it's not all about you anymore. And then the next big transition is having a child, right? Because now it ain't about me and me and my husband. We can go as we please, but now we get a child. Now we have to start planning for the child. Oh, we need a babysitter. We need somebody to watch our son. We can't just get up and jump in the car like we used to, because now, hey, we got a car seat. We got to go get the baby. All of that stuff like that. So going in, and what I like what Mariah said is that try to fulfill your goals, and I think that's good, and I think that deals with a person's worth. And I think a lot of times, it's good. And I know we got this big thing now. What does a person bring to the table? That's a big conversation now. What is she bringing to the table? what is he bringing to
Yeah.
the table? And, you know, it used to be what is he bringing to the table, just solely, you know, what is a man bringing to the table? But now, you know, it got to the point where, well, what is the woman bringing to the table? She now bringing to the, you know, to the table. And I think, you know, I don't think it's mandatory or anything like that, but if she's bringing a degree to the table, that's fine. You know, if she's bringing experience, she done learned this or learned that, bringing cooking, bringing her own vehicle, you know, bringing her own money, all that stuff like that is fine. But when we look at the aspects of, you know, bring it to the table. Everybody talks about what she bringing to the table. I think that, you know, like looking at this conversation now, we're talking about, you know, a husband and a wife or a woman getting into a relationship, changing the, you know, fundamentals of the base ground of the relationship. So I think that that's something that we can look at too. You know, what is she bringing to the table, or what is he bringing to the table? You know. Mariah,
Are
you
you
about to
still
say
there?
something? I'm sorry.
No, I was just making sure you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, it has really shifted over the years to what is she bringing to the table too? Because I can remember a time when it wasn't about what the woman was bringing to the
Not at all.
table. Like you said earlier, it was about what he bringing to the table and how he's going to take care of me.
Yep.
And that was one of the things. And I think some of that got us tripped up in my generation, where we didn't feel like we had to, but then there was women liberation. So then we decided, well, I want to bring something to the table too.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have some things when I come into the marriage too. And now it's real strong, where the women and the men are asking the women what they bring into the table. And I don't think necessarily that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't think it should be a required thing, or, you know, a qualifying factor, you know. And it just for me personally, you know, because I'm a teacher and a coach by nature. So if she comes to the table and she don't have as much as I have, you know, I could help her get what she need, you know what I mean, or the direction she want to go. So it, you know, for me, it don't matter where she is, you know what I mean. I'm not saying she got to be a bum or anything like that, but, you know, it don't matter, you know what I'm saying, where she is in life, you know what I mean. I can kind of, you know, where I'm at in life, I can definitely be able to pour into her and help her, you know, where she is. You know, I've been in relationships before where, you know, the individual didn't have much of anything, and, you know, I helped them get, you know, past, you know, exceeding past where they ever was. So, you know what I mean? I think it just depends on the guy. You know, that's my thing. But yeah, I think you do have women nowadays that are like, oh yeah, I ain't getting married, so I'm bringing something to the table because I think that, you know, women now want to bring stuff to the table so they can feel empowered, or so they can feel like they got, you know, the say so, or, you know, I'm gonna be the you know, I'm gonna be the alpha in this relationship, or we gonna have equal deciding points, or, you know, there's not gonna be no man that's ahead of me, you know, because I'm bringing just as much money as he bringing to the table. So let me ask you a question, and I know we got to go get off, but so like if we both make $100,000 a year, who's in charge?
Listen, I'm old fashioned, and I believe in a man being in charge. I'm just saying, I'm here to help. And if I'm making 100,000, you know, we're gonna talk about this money. You know, we do need to partner when it comes to things. So he's still in charge. Right. We just need to make some decisions together when it comes to I ain't gonna say decisions. We need to come together and talk about how things are gonna go. So, you know, as far as the money and the finances, but at the core, hey, he can go with it. He can run with it. In my opinion.
So we both make 100,000 a year. Who pays the bills?
Whoever's better at it.
I mean, well, not who pays. Whose money pays for the bills?
Oh, the money should be going in one pot.
Okay. So what is the dangers of all the money going to one place? Is that?
Well, I don't mean one place. Let me correct that. All right. The bill money for bills, should all go into the same pot. And then I think it's okay for the man to have his own savings account and a woman to have her own savings and checking account. Because, I mean, I think we talked about it on one of our other podcasts, that if I want to go buy him an expensive watch, I don't want to be taking his credit card and paying for his watch.
That's right. That's right. So, all right. So again, so we getting $200,000 a year. You know what I mean? So does she put in the bill pot? Does she? I mean, how much does she contribute a month? Does it matter, or should she just put a little bit in there at a time, or how does that work? Or should she just solely depend on his money?
That depends on if she's a shopaholic. I'm sorry.
This is why,
this, in my opinion, go ahead.
This is,
what you got?
This is why it's important that you have something before you go into a marriage, because like Pastor P just said, should I just depend all on his money? If you come into that marriage, you ain't got nothing, you ain't got no degree, or you don't have any type of financial backbone or any type of financial backup plan, you go into that marriage, let's say it doesn't last, you depended solely on him, now you left with nothing. You have to start from ground zero. So that's why back to the what do you bring to the table thing, I think for me it's important, because the more that I have on my own, the better that we are together. But let's just say in the event that something does happen, I can still support myself if without him. Now, like traditionally, like Miss AV said, I do think that the man should pay the bills. Now, I do think per marriage, I mean, it worked, however, whatever works for y'all works. But,
So, all right. So let me ask this question again. So who pays for what? So if there's $200,000 annually from both people, and the mortgage a month or the total bills a month is like $5,000 a month. Total bills $5,000 a month. Everybody making, I'm saying 200. Both parties 100,000 a year. So we making 200,000 together. Our bills are 5,000 a month. Who pays for the bills?
Well, you're asking me.
I think if we both making the same amount of money, I don't see why we have to decide that whether he pays it or I pay it. I think it should be that all the money goes into one pot when it comes to the bills and the things that need to be paid for in the house. I don't think he should always have to pay all the bills with just his money, and she can do whatever she wants with her money. I disagree with that. I think that's all about the woman again.
Yeah.
So does it? That we are seen as, these creatures that they have to take care of us. They should, because that's the role they took on as a provider. But at the end of the day, if we both making money like that and we brawling like that and our bills is only $5,000, listen, let's just put this amount of money aside for what we want to do, and all the rest of it need to go in there and take care of any bills and anything that comes up.
All right, so let me go a little deeper in the question. So do y'all think that in a year, do y'all think that it's okay a month?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, if he say, all right, babe, you make 100,000, I make 100,000, our bill's $5,000. Yo, I want you to, do 2,500 and I'll do 2,500. How would y'all feel about that?
Oh, you better pay them bills yourself.
Let's do it.
All right, so you said let's do it. Mariah said no. So Mariah, what you want? What you mean by that?
I don't know.
You play your case.
Pay nothing, like that's a part of the package deal. Like before I got into this, we decided that you was going to take care of the bills. Now that's just me, but like Miss AV, like whatever works for y'all works for y'all. But me,
what you supposed to do with what you gonna be doing with your 100,000? Well,
me and him we can just talk about that, whether he wants to put that. come to some kind of agreement.
Oh,
But
and again, your phone breaking up a little bit. I think you got to speak a little closer to your thing.
I said
Say it.
we'll come to some kind of agreement. I'm not saying I'm going to be selfish and not mine at all. But yeah, I ain't he's gonna be paying the bills.
All right. So what you gonna be doing with your 100,000? That's the question.
As I said me and him will come to some kind of agreement.
So,
like,
but the agreement can't be you do 2,500, he do 2,500.
no.
So say you pay $1,500 a month.
No, I'm not paying no bills. He's paying the bills. That's what you signed up for.
All right. So what? All right. So hold on, I'm confused. Miss AB, are you confused too? I'm confused. All right. So
no,
all right.
I just said that me and him, we will come to an agreement on what we'll do with my salary.
All right. So wait. All right. So stop right there. So what would that be? Because if it's not paying bills, then what are you gonna be doing with your salary?
I don't know. We could be doing investments. We could be starting on a business. We could, whatever it is to contribute to the home.
Okay. So your business, so your money be the fun money.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. That's what it would be. Or we can
And
do
then his bill money.
the money. Mine could be, clothes money or, whatever it is.
Okay. We got one of our viewers said that it should be his money and he should pay all the bills. If they both making 100,000. I'll say this, this is just me. If I'm making 100,000, you know what I mean, our bill's $5,000 a month, you know what I mean, and she making 100,000, I'm not gonna require her to pay no bills. But if she want to contribute, I'm not gonna stop her. If she say, "Hey, babe, here go $2,000. Go ahead and pay go ahead and pay for whatever," you know what I mean. I'm not gonna stop her, but I wouldn't mandate her to, and it's just me, this is me personally. I would mandate her to, pay for it. But on the contrary, now let's deal with this part. And I know we got a couple more minutes because I gotta go. But what if y'all both making the same amount of money? And he's asking you to get in there to cook, make sure the house is clean and all that stuff like that. What are you doing?
I'm finna
Mariah,
hire
huh?
a maid.
I can't hear you.
I said I'm finna hire a maid.
All right, you gonna hire a maid? All right, so I got a problem then. I got a problem. So my problem. Yeah, that's that new age stuff. I got a problem with that. So you telling me that I gotta pay all of the bills? We making the same amount of money. You don't pay a dime for no bills, but you know what I'm saying? When it come down to me getting some food or getting my clothes and all that stuff together, you talk about you gonna hire somebody to do that.
So what?
Yeah, she out here wilding out.
If I'm working and you're working, and you want me to work and cook and clean and all that stuff, I don't see anything wrong with me using my money to hire a maid.
Okay. So what if the maid don't cook like you? What if you say, "Hey, I want you to cook"? What you gonna say?
I'll cook. That's fine.
You sure? You sound like you're a little undecided. You gonna be like, "Nah, you gonna have to find some Chinese."
Yeah. I'm not even gonna say I was about to say something. Shut up.
So I think so. So do y'all believe that if both parties are working, that when it comes down to the house, that the woman shouldn't be responsible? Well, I guess being responsible would make if you purchase a person, or if you're paying for services through a person to make sure that things get taken care of. So I can see that, because I guess that's still your responsibility, or that you're making it your responsibility, just handling it in a different way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And if he's covering all the bills, I mean, I could pay for a maid. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Whatever grants me more time.
Okay. So what? So and this is the thing that I want to say, and I gotta go. But when it comes down to if we're both working, just because you're making $100,000 does not mean that you're doing strenuous work. You know what I mean? You could be, you know, flipping houses, and which wouldn't require a lot, in certain areas of life, or you can be doing day trading or, something like that. So, in that event, like, would you still have the same thought process because you're still making the same amount of money?
Well, for me, it's the same thing. I just don't believe that if I don't mind if I'm making money and it's not hurt, like if we ain't hurting, you know what I'm saying? I don't mind taking, splitting and putting the money so that the bills are paid. As long as I have my fun money and I have money to do the things that I want to do, I ain't got no problem with that.
I agree. I don't see nothing wrong with that either. I think I think that's pretty fair. But hey, look, everybody, it's we done hit our hour. We appreciate everybody getting on. We got Miss AB here and Miss Johnson, Miss Mariah Johnson on here tonight. We appreciate you both for joining me tonight. Everybody for joining in. Everybody hit that like button and subscribe button and share this video if you can. Did you want to say something? Oh, okay. All right. Hit that like button and hit that share and check me out on YouTube. This is Pastor P. We're here inspiring smiles and behaviors with great talk. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.